What's up, everybody? Welcome to The Revival. My name is JJ, and yeah, I'm jumping on the why you should be playing Final Fantasy XIV bandwagon. Alright, so a little bit of background. And I'm sure I've mentioned this a handful of times, either on here or on Pixel Perspective, but I played the original Final Fantasy XIV, and I've also been playing a Realm Reborn since day one. I don't play, like, daily. I probably now maybe, like, log in, like, twice a week or something. Sometimes that is a long play session, sometimes it's just to go in and do a couple of things and hop out. That's the beauty of an MMO, is you can kind of just do whatever you want, and usually, in the good ones at least, you can kind of hop in, just do a couple of quick things, and hop out, and just check to see how things are going, or you can, make a day of it, and just spend all day in this alternate universe, which is amazing as well. The original, not so great, as you may have heard before. Those of you who aren't big on MMOs or Final Fantasy series, or like you're dedicated to another one like WoW or something like that, I honestly I encourage you to give this game a shot. They have a free trial that you can do, and it's like I played World of Warcraft for years, and honestly, it's probably without World of Warcraft, this game would not be as good as it is, I feel. Because it's so similar. It's really hard to not make comparisons between the two, because the gameplay is so very like each other. But, obviously WoW is where it started. The original 14 was nowhere near like this. It was a lot closer to 11, which 11 was great for its time, but then honestly, it regressed a little bit. It was worse, in my opinion. I remember playing it and being so excited to jump into that world and just being like, this is just bad. It's not good, but it's Final Fantasy, so I'm gonna force my way through it. And that's because I'm a fanboy, obviously. But I genuinely love the way the game is now. It's so amazing, and you can see that because if you're on Twitter, and you follow a lot of gaming streamers and stuff like that, a lot of them are starting to play Final Fantasy XIV. That includes a lot of the big WoW streamers as well. A guy that's been popular for a while, but I recently actually started watching Asmongold. I've heard the name before. I hadn't really watched a lot of his stuff or anything like that, because I like playing World of Warcraft, but I'm just not big into streamers in general. Nothing against them. I would rather just be playing a game rather than watching it. If I'm watching a streamer, it's usually as background noise or something while I'm playing another game, so I have it on my second monitor or something like that. But I'm not fully invested or paying attention that much or anything like that. So it is what it is. But I discovered his YouTube channel through another one of my favorite streamers, who I just watch her YouTube channel as well, and that's Zepla. And she's a big Final Fantasy XIV streamer. And so, it was really cool to see his reasoning, and I actually really like the guy, because he, I had heard rumors of, I don't want to make this a whole video on him, but I had heard rumors, previously about, how his fans were toxic and all this stuff like that and everything, and I don't know. I think every big streamer is going to have a toxic fan base on some level. Is going to have, I hesitate to even say toxic fan base, but toxic fans, because there's always going to be a few of those outliers. But he's very active in saying hey, don't do this. Leave people alone. Let them do their thing. And I've really enjoyed the back and forth and the conversations I've seen between him and Zepla, or the videos that he's done where he's watched her videos and kind of critiqued him a little bit, and seeing him make the switch, not the switch, but seeing him try out Final Fantasy XIV has been kind of cool, especially because, and Zeppel is the same way. I really, really appreciate that it's the same way that I feel, where they're watching this huge, massive migration. You can go online, look at the numbers, and see how many people are leaving WoW for Final Fantasy XIV, and I don't even know if they're necessarily leaving and canceling their accounts, but as far as, trying out 14, there's a hell of a lot of people doing it. They're still very much, sitting there saying, we really hope that WoW gets its, act together and is able to get back to where it was before. And because, all it really amounts to is just, you want people to have fun. You want people to enjoy these games and everything. And especially, I would include myself in this as well, for people like them who have history with World of Warcraft. To see a game that you loved so much for so long, going a little bit downhill in multiple ways, it sucks to see, because you know that you will always have that place in your heart for that game, and it's still a great game. There's no question. But just some of the decisions Blizzard, the higher ups of Blizzard, have been making lately, and it's just unfortunate. And I really, really hope that we can, see that community and that game in general get back to. It doesn't necessarily have to be on top, but at least to a point where people are still proud to play it and not necessarily having some kind of mass exodus going from one game to another. You know what I mean? The main point is we just want people to play these games and have fun, and so we want them all to be as best as they can be. And not only that, because if these games are as good as they can be, that just pushes more other games to be better in their own ways as well. So hopefully World of Warcraft sees what Final Fantasy XIV is doing right, and in this case takes a note from them, and they improve based on that. For me, I just love 14. I love Final Fantasy, obviously, but I will say the community in World of Warcraft, for me personally, I was very close with my guildmates. I had a lot of good times, and I was in a dedicated raiding group for a while, and all this stuff. None of that I'm experiencing in Final Fantasy XIV. It's literally just about the game and the world for me. I'm in a free company, which is their version of a guild, and it's great. They're really nice people and everything like that. But I've been in a few. I have yet to find one that I really get close and connect with the people in there anywhere near like it was with World of Warcraft, which is unfortunate. But at the same time, I love the game so much that it's so solo friendly. I can pretty much do everything without having to worry about that, without needing that. And like I said, I only play nowadays two-ish times a week, something like that. That will change once the new expansion Endwalker comes out, because I will be. I'm so ready for that. But I have kept my account active since day one. And that's mainly because I have a house, and if you're inactive for 40 days, they get rid of you, lose your house in-game, and it's really hard to get them at this point. So it has been for a while, but so I don't want to lose that, so I still log in every now and then. But every time I log in just to check that out, I'm like, maybe I'll check out a couple more things, and I'll play for a little bit. So it just cracks me up that because I see so much chatter about this game, and again about the whole a lot of people leaving World of Warcraft for this online, and it's pretty dang astounding to see the bashing and that kind of stuff. And I get that to a certain extent, because if people weren't bashing it, then obviously people wouldn't be leaving. But at the same time, I would much rather prefer to see people have a hopeful mentality rather than just tearing this game down, World of Warcraft, and vice versa. Final Fantasy XIV is a great game, but a lot of people look at it and it's it's just for, crazy anime fans and who just want cat girls on their screen and everything like that. And there's plenty of people who play the game that are into that stuff, and what's the big deal? It's still a fun game. It's still really, really good. It's still a blast. And I highly encourage anybody to give it a shot. It's on PS4 or PS5, and PC, obviously. And it is just a wonderful, wonderful experience. Every person that I have introduced the game to so far, they might not still be playing, but they did play for a while at least, because they just really enjoyed it that much. And I prefer the storytelling in Final Fantasy XIV as well. It's like I said, it's more solo friendly for a guy like me who treats it as a single player experience. You can't. It's really hard to do that with World of Warcraft and still be able to do everything the game has to offer. World of Warcraft had the community for me, had the my guildmates and everything, and that's what kept me coming back to it. It was a fun game, but I wasn't as invested in my character in the world as I am with this. In this, it's all about the gameplay. It's basically just like I'm playing a single-player game, but I've got, millions of other people online at the same time that I can talk to, that I can queue up in a dungeon with, and that kind of thing. So I really, really appreciate that aspect. I've always said it like this, like World of Warcraft makes it to where, like, if you're looking at it from a story standpoint, the world and the events that take place within that world, that is the main character. And you are like you're an observer who is like taking part in some of these big battles and some of these events and everything like that. And you're just living in this world where all these events are happening. Whereas in Final Fantasy XIV, you are pretty much the main character, and a lot of what happens revolves around you and your character. And I guess you could argue on some level that might take some people out of it, because how can everybody be the main character and stuff like that? But they do a good job, I feel, of kind of making that addressing that in the game, because you go into a dungeon and you're like, you need to gather the other warriors' light and stuff, and they're talking about other people that you go in there with, and I think it's really cool. And so even in the cutscenes when you're in these dungeons, you see those other player characters with you and that kind of stuff, and it's just so beautifully done. And anytime you watch like the live letters or the conventions that they do, where they the fan festivals, where they announce like big news and that kind of stuff, and like they have like the producers and stuff come out like dressed in cosplay, and they're so passionate and they just love the game so much that they're creating. And Blizzard used to have that. And I think that's kind of the big reason, is a lot of people don't feel that the passion is there anymore with Blizzard. At least not on the same level it used to be. Because man, when World of Warcraft first came out, there was nothing like it. It was unbelievable, and it broke so much ground. It was crazy. But now we're seeing this shift, and I'm happy as a Final Fantasy fan, because that means more people are going to get to join into this universe, and hopefully that means that they're like, you know what, I wonder what the other games in this series are like if this is this good, and that kind of thing. So. But yeah, I just kind of wanted to give my thoughts on the recent news about all people trying out this game and everything, and I think it's great. But again, I really, really hope that Blizzard is able to kind of figure something out and get back to their roots and really like put the passion back into their game, because it's still such a game with such a rich history, and a lot of people still love it. I still love the game to death. Every 2 to 3 years or so, I haven't played this expansion, but every 2 to 3 years I still hop back into that game, and then I get hooked again. So I'm sure that'll happen at some point in the future. But in the meantime, I will absolutely be playing Final Fantasy XIV Leviathan server. If anybody is curious and wants to hop on and try it out, I love the game to death. Like I said, I miss that community that World of Warcraft had for me. But yeah, it's really, really great to see so many people enjoying this game. Again, I encourage everybody to check it out if you get the chance with that free trial. And I don't think it takes like anything super crazy to run the game. But at the same, and if you have a PS4, you can play it that way too. And it runs beautifully on console as well. So, because I own it on both, I wanted to see what it was like playing it on my couch. I just prefer to play MMOs with a mouse and keyboard, especially as a healer. It's just easier for targeting and that kind of thing for me. But I'm sure if you have a controller, you get used to it and whatnot. So, but yeah, thanks for watching. As always, like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Let me know what you think if you're an MMO fan. I'd love to hear your thoughts on the whole spiel. There's a lot happening in the MMO community right now, and those two games are kind of at the at the forefront from what I can tell. So, and we got a bunch of new ones coming out too. So, you know, we'll see what happens. It'll be definitely interesting. So yeah, thanks for watching. And as always, keep on gaming.